Today's Q&A is about microwaves, and the question is there any way to use a non-kosher microwave that you have? Well, the answer is that there are two choices. Either you can kasher it, or there's another way that you can use it while it's still not kosher, and I'm going to talk about both of those ideas. Let's do kashering first. So the main way that a microwave becomes non-kosher is either is that food could spill onto the glass plate that the food is on, on the floor of the microwave, so it spills over or falls over onto there. And the other way is that when a food is being warmed up or cooked in the microwave, vapor that's coming out of that food could rise up and come in contact with the ceiling and even the walls of the microwave. So let's think what we'd have to do to kasher from those concerns. Well, glass can't be kasher, so the plate has to be taken out, and either taken out completely or it has to be taken out completely. You can then either just use a microwave without a plate or replace it with a new plate that's kosher. The ceiling absorbs tam through these vapors, this zaya that's coming up, and therefore we can kasher with zaya or with water vapor also, which is to say is usually we're not allowed to kasher things with vapor or steam, but here, since the whole way became treif in the first place was through these vapors, the zaya rising up, we can kasher with zaya also. Okay, so how do we do that? How are we going to get the zaya to kasher in all the places? What we do is as follows. First, you got to clean it out, of course, like before every kashering, and then don't use it for 24 hours. Those are standard steps for any kashering. Then you put a bowl of water into the microwave, bring it to a boil, and once it boils, let it keep on boiling for another, nice amount of time, maybe another 10-15 minutes. And the idea is that will make the chamber be filled up with all the steam coming out of this bowl of water that you put there, and that steam contacting the surfaces is going to be the kashering that it needs. Okay, now, you might ask a question, which is, what about the fact that there might be little bits of food stuck into the little holes that, the steam vents, there's a vent in every microwave, so there's little holes cover, over the grating that covers that. So what about the possibility that those will become food gets stuck into there? And the question, to make it even more clear, is that the Ramah says that if there's anything that has little cracks or crevices in it that are really hard to clean, like these little holes, then the minig is that we don't allow kashering. So does that mean that we're not allowed to kasher because food might be stuck in those little holes? So some people say that Ramah is only talking about chametz for Pesach because there's an Isser Marshu. Chametz is even the tiniest bit that might be left over would be also even with the evet. So therefore the people who take that position would say is you can't kasher a microwave for Pesach, but you could kasher it for year round because for year round we don't have such a minhag. Other people say that even for Pesach you can kasher because the assumption is that any food that might be left in those little holes might come out on Pesach would fall vertically, it'll fall down, and it'll hit the floor of the microwave, but it's not going to end up in your food. And that's why some people hold that you're allowed to kasher microwaves even for Pesach. Now, till now we've been talking about what to do if you want to kasher. And what happens if you're not going to kasher? Like you go to a hotel room, or you're in your work office. There's a microwave. It's not kosher, and you're not going to kasher. You're not going to kasher every time, and go through this whole procedure, etc. So, or you can't even kasher. There is a way to use it to warm food up, and that is like this. Basically, what you're going to do is you're going to say, the microwave is going to be not kosher, but I'm going to prevent that tam getting from the non-kosher microwave into my food. And in order to do that, there's 3 steps. First is you have to wipe off any residue of food that's on the floor of the microwave. Then you're going to put the food that you have, your kosher food, onto a plate, and then you're going to double wrap that plate with a container or some kind of a bag or something like that. Now that wrapping doesn't have to be airtight, but it should cover it on all sides. And what that will do is it'll prevent any non-kosher, or for that matter, milchigs or fleishigs, tam, from getting into the kosher food. So the microwave might be treif or milchigs or fleishigs, but whatever's in there is not going to make its way into the food that you're making today. Now, this is all good and fine for treif or for milchigs, fleishigs, etc. Chametz on Pesach has a lot of chumras to it, including ones that would affect us in this case, and therefore we would not recommend doing this for Pesach, meaning to use a chametz sticker microwave by wrapping the food the way I just described. But for year round, from treif or from something that's milchigs or fleishigs, that you'd be allowed to do this.